All right, everyone, welcome to this podcast that we have yet to name because this is basically a test episode we're trying out. I'm Jonny Esports. I'm joined by JT. How you doing, my dude?
I'm doing great. I've come down from the Jankyard, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be fun. Just a couple of brewers having fun.
Yeah, and honestly, this is mostly just an excuse for me to talk to you because I miss you, dude. This pandemic's rough.
Same,
All right, but
same. I miss playing against you and having you rag on me for not or for tapping cards with vigilance.
no, it's funny you mentioned that because I'm going to go over our topics today, and I'll explain why it's funny you mentioned that. So basically, this is planned to be a fairly quick podcast where we're just going to kind of jam through some topics. We have one topic we call Two Truths, One Color Pie, where I'm going to name three cards for JT. I'm going to color shift one of them. He's got to figure out which one is the wrong one. So it's like Two Truths, One Lies, but with magic cards. Then we're going to talk about what deck we're kind of playing. So we're both a little bit of brewers here. I've been playing more Commander lately, so I'm kind of excited of brewing into that because it's a format I actually didn't really touch all that often until recently. And then we got Kaldheim preview, so we're not going to do an exhaustive preview thing, but we're going to talk about some cards we're maybe excited to brew around. So what you mentioned is funny. Because my original concept of Two Truths, One Color Pie was I was going to name three cards, and you had to tell me which one had vigilance. That was
So really quick for the listeners. Johnny and I played in paper a lot at our LGS, and we were playing one time, and it was in pre-release, so it was new cards.
Mhm.
And I attacked him and turned a vigilance card sideways, and he just kind of pointed and went, "That's got vigilance." Oh yeah, right, and straightened it out. And the next turn, I attacked again, and I turned the same card sideways, and he just looked at me like, "How have you won any games?"
Yeah. So we do like to roast each other a little bit. But
Oh
we're,
yeah,
we're good
yeah.
friends, and we enjoy it. It's fun. It's fun, good stuff. All right, but let's get into our topics for the evening. So again,
All right.
Two Truths, One Color Pie. Let me bring up those cards now. First card, we have Reverend Hunter. It's 2 and a green. It's a creature, human archer. When Reverend Hunter enters the battlefield, put a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to your devotion to green. It's a 1/1 creature. Card number 2, I have Bloodstoke Howler. That's 5 and a green. It's a morph creature that morphs for 6 and a green. When Bloodstoke Howler is turned face up, beasts you control get +3/+0. That is a creature beast. It's a 3/4. The last card I have is a Bond Beetle. It's 1 green for a creature insect. When Bond Beetle enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It is a 0/1. Now, what card is a lie?
Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm listening to the first two, and I'm like, "Oh, those definitely sound like green cards." So
Mhm.
it's gonna have to be the third one. And then I heard the third one, I'm like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay. So here's okay. I'm gonna like stall for time here. I'd like Bloodsoaked Howler. As soon as you said Bloodsoaked, I'm like, oh, it's got to be a red card. But it's a creature beast, right? So yeah, the Reverend Hunter. That sounds green. The Bloodsoaked Howler could be a red card. The Bond Beetle could be a black card. So I'm gonna go with the Bond Beetle. Is a black card.
And you are incorrect. Your instinct was correct on Bloodstoke Howler. I thought
It's a red card.
It's a red card.
Damn it!
It's good. I'm excited for when you see the video portion of it because I actually I photoshopped the card to look green, and then it's gonna flip over and you'll see that it's actually a red card. I'm excited to show that up.
I should have went with my gut.
You
Oh,
should have went with your gut potentially. All right, that's fun. I guess people at home, if you want to play along, I guess you could have like paused and then like said what your guess was. I don't know. We'll figure out some sort of way people can interact in the comments. We're new at this. This is the first episode, so we're gonna
well,
do over that.
and I think the plan is we'll have different games and we will alternate who challenges who. And
Yeah. Should be
but I
fun.
really like that, and it's great for me because just to give people some background, I've only been playing since 2015. So while I've played a lot, I play with a lot of cards. There's a lot of older cards I'm not super familiar with. So
Oh yeah, Bloodstoke Howler's like
this is
legions. It's an
oh my
old card.
god.
I mean, I
Okay.
look at that cost. 5 colors, 1 red for a 3/4. Yeah, that ain't recent.
No, you're right.
It's a common to be fair, but still, that still isn't recent.
But it had morph, right?
It did have morph. Yeah, let's move on from there. So this is where we just kind of get into what decks and stuff we're playing right now. Like I mentioned kind of at the top of the show, we're both a little bit of brewers. We like to play different stuff. We can play meta when we want to try to win something try hard, but when we kind of get down to it, we like to just play whatever we feel like playing. So JT, what are you playing right now?
So, okay. Yeah, I'm like you said, that sometimes I've played meta decks when I've played in big tournaments, but I was actually in a tournament earlier today when we record this, the CFB Pro Showdown, and I was like, do I play a serious deck? No. So what I spent some time tooling around this week, also on my Patreon for my stream, Jankyard MTG. I was quick plug. I was over there talking to some of the patrons, getting some ideas. So what I wanted to build around was around mono red control, because that just seems like such an anathema. Yeah. So, and building specifically around Fiery Emancipation, because I love that card.
Sorry, this is standard or historic?
This is standard. Fiery Emancipation is 4 and 2 red. Yeah, 4 and 2 red for an enchantment that says whenever something, a source you control does damage, it will do triple that damage instead.
Triples a lot.
So I built a couple different formations. One of the patrons had some great ideas, so we adjusted it. And then I was playing it, and it was just like, it's not working as well as I wanted to. So I actually leaned very hard last night. I almost switched back to my 5-color Shrine deck, Control, which is also a blast. But in the end, we stuck with the mono red standard. The tournament was single limb, and I went one and done. But I got a win today in game 2, and the reason I got the win is I had the Fiery Emancipation out. Sorry, it's not 4 and 2 red. My bad. 3 triple red.
There we go.
But I got Fiery Emancipation out. My opponent was at 20 life, and I dropped a Sundering Stroke, with paying 7 red for it. So I did 7 damage to him, tripled. So it was 21. Boom. And so that one, yeah, that felt pretty good. And the next game I got stuck on land. So that's been a fun one, and it's got stuff like Cinderclasm, Omen of the Forge, Maze Mine Tome, which I'm all of a sudden in love with. Valakut Exploration.
Nice.
Great little card. You have that and the Fiery Emancipation, and it pulls out, exiles a card every time you drop a land. Well, I can't play that card. Exile it. I hit you for 3. Leyline Tyrant, Torbran, Nyx Lotus to help ramp, Storm's Wrath, Sundering Stroke, Fiery Emancipation, and Sad Robot.
Awesome.
And yeah, it's a fun little deck. So I went with that one. And just really quick, just to plug with some people who follow me know, and as Johnny knows, my preferred archetype by far is big butts. I love attacking with a creature's toughness as opposed to their power. So I want like an 05. So I've been playing in the historic ranked. I've marched up to diamond already, thanks to my big butts deck in historic, using High Alert, Assault Formation, Cherix, Arboreal Grazer, Nyx Fleece Ram, Aegis Turtle, and then you throw down a tower defense and you hit somebody for 30.
I gotta tell people, I always find it so brutal when I play against JT, because I play so much like Izzet, and we can't handle the butts. Nope. Their toughness is too much for a lightning bolt or lightning strike, whatever format we're in, right? And I just like, oh man, it's actually such a paddling. And then my hope is he just doesn't have one of them with reach, so that maybe I drop an Arclight Phoenix and fly over it and hope I kill you before you kill me, because I can't actually get rid of any of your creatures because they have way too much toughness for that deck to handle. And it's always so brutal.
It's a lot of fun, and it's especially fun because I've got this thing on Arena. If you folks can get it, it's great. MTG Assistant, and so it tracks my win ratio with the deck, and which is sitting about 70%.
That's wild.
But it also shows how quick the match was. And I found if I go beyond like 3.5 minutes, I'm losing.
It's just already over.
It's best of one. If you get me past 3.5 minutes, I'm hosed.
That's super funny.
Yeah. That's what I've been playing. What are you're rocking Commander these days?
Yeah. I've not been a Commander player for a really long time. But like, So obviously I play a little bit of Arena, but I was kind of getting sick of Arena because I just want to play with paper cards. I have so many of them, and I just wanted to. And of course, like VEDH is the thing. So playing over like video, I've been playing some Commander over webcams and stuff with friends, so I've been getting more and more in Commander. Also, because a shout out to the Commander Cookout podcast as well as the CAD Pop podcast. I do a little bit of video editing for them, so I've just been kind of working with those guys and just getting more and more into Commander because I've been working with those guys. So it just made me want to get more and more into Commander. So basically what I've kind of done lately is obviously I need to make an Is It deck, so I picked up Joyra to be my try-hard deck. Because it's just a bunch of artifacts and
Joyra's a beating.
Infinite cards, and you just kind of you could return all your artifacts to your hand, you play them again. It's pretty gross and fun. That's my gross tryhard get. You can literally just check it up on EDH Rec. It's almost the average deck on there with maybe just a couple flavor changes for myself. The deck I've kind of been rocking and kind of been brewing has been from the new Commander Legends Rograk, combined with Arden, which is not a super creative formation because that's kind of like what everyone kind of thought. But in case you don't know, Rograk is a 0-cost 0/1 creature, and it has First Strike, Menace, and Trample, and is a partner, so can be commanders with another partner. So obviously that just pairs really well with Arden because Arden is a 2 colorless, 1 white, 2/2 legendary creature, Core Scout. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may attach any number of auras and equipment you control to target permanent or player, and it's also the partner. So basically, I play Rograk for free. I attach a bunch of stuff from it because Arden can attach a bunch of stuff from it. Get in with Colossus Hammers and just disgusting stuff, and try to win through commander damage because it's a grindy format. But playing an aggro deck is very challenging with 3 other opponents, but that's the thing. It's very challenging and kind of cool. Whereas, like, sometimes when you play aggro in like modern or whatever, you win turn 3, you're like, all right, we move on. That's it. Where it's like, yeah, I can kill someone turn 3, but I got 2 other people to deal with after that. And it's been very, very interesting kind of throwing together some stuff there. So that's been really fun. Other deck I kind of grabbed, I also grabbed the Commander 2020 deck for Calimax, which is basically an Is It deck with green because essentially what Calimax does is they cost 4 1 colors, green, blue, red, for a 4/4. Whenever you cast your first instant spell each turn, if Calimax is tapped, you copy that spell. You choose new targets for the copy. So whenever you copy an instant spell, you put a +1/+1 counter on Calimax. This
is disgusting.
Yeah, just to remind everyone that he's a green creature. So basically, yeah, I just double up spells. I mostly just draw lots of cards and then don't do anything because we're doing this as a Commander league right now. So basically how that is, if you don't know, is you just start with a base Commander deck. So in this case, I'm starting with Calimax. Someone else is starting with Atraxa because they have the base Atraxa deck. Fun. But I'm starting with Calimax here, and then like every week we're adding 2 packs. There's different ways to do it, but the way we're doing it, every week we're adding 2 packs. We're opening up 2 packs of Commander Legends, and then you can add those cards to your deck. So right now it's I kind of just draw a bunch of cards, and it's a good time. That's all I really want to do. But really, it's an excuse to be an Is It deck with green, so I can ramp really well. That's really all it is, and that's a ton of fun too.
So what you guys have been doing? You started with the precon, right?
Yeah, the precon. So I picked up the Arcane Maelstrom deck. From Commander 2020, and it's a pretty worth deck if anyone's considering picking it up, mostly because it has Deflecting SWAT, which on its own I think is like a $30 card. So that's pretty wild. So you kind of get some value from that, as well as just like, you know, a fun deck. It kind of currently is like It is way more creature heavy than I expected it to be because it's all about kind of like creating a bunch of creature tokens, and has like 21 creatures on it. I'm hoping to kind of like slowly like wither away at some of these creatures just to add more instances because I eventually run out of gas is what I've kind of discovered because the base deck only has 25 instances in it, and I feel like this thing needs like 40, doesn't it? So
absolutely, yeah.
And there's instances that create tokens, right? So that like you could basically make your creatures instances. They're overcosted, but when you get them doubled because of Calimax or other doubling effects, sometimes you have out a twinning staff or something, which also doubles spells. You're tripling spells, and that's super fun. So you you have some instances that can create creatures, and if you triple that, even though it's like, well, what's the one that costs like 6 or something? There's one that costs 6 that's just super expensive, but you triple it and you get like 6/4/4 beasts, and four triple is 3/4/4 beasts, and you're pretty happy about it, even though it costs like 6 to cast. So there's stuff like that in the deck, and it's pretty darn fun, and I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm kind of enjoying discovering Commander a little bit more, because it's not something I really like played too much. Like I played it on modern, and we played some standard. It was really getting into Pioneer before the pandemic, and then
a lot of us were.
Yeah, a lot of us were. I was really excited about that format, but it's kind of died out without being played in paper, because Arena has historic and that. So needed to get into a paper format, because I need the tactile feeling of cards. Even when I play Arena, I sometimes grab a deck and I'm just shuffling cards just to try to simulate that feeling if I can.
Just sitting there with 7 cards going back and forth in your hand.
Yeah, exactly. Try to do that. All right. But that's the deck.
I was going to say that sounds like a lot of fun, and I would encourage other people to get leagues going. I've thought about trying to get into one through Channel Fireball, but that sounds like you guys are having a blast. And I like that idea of every week you buff it up with a couple more packs.
And it just gets a little bit better, and it's and that way too. Like, yeah, sure, I created my Joyer deck that's just like super powerful, but then you can just kind of, what's fun about Commander is like playing things that are like, they're powerful cards, but they're inefficient. Like I said, like things that cost 6 to cast is kind of wild, but like, if everyone is kind of starting off at that same power point, it's fun to play these powerful cards that are overcosted, but you actually get to play them because it's a slow enough format when people aren't just dumping 6 mana rocks on turn 3 and then going crazy. Yeah, but that's that. That's the decks we're playing, and hopefully we'll have another deck kind of coming out next week. Kind of just spammed all the decks I've made recently just because I've been wanting to talk about them so much. But I have some plans for some other decks next week we can talk about, and I'm sure you're always brewing something, so I look forward to hearing about that too.
For sure. And I'm definitely thinking about Commander, so that maybe
I should invite you out to Commander when we need a 4th. I'll give you
for sure. I got to make sure I've got one, but I have a couple pre-cons from like 2017. So
nice. Yeah. Let's rock that. All right. So last topic of the day, we're in the middle of Kaldheim previews. You could the way I'm kind of viewing previews is that like you can get previews anywhere. So I didn't want to do like a crazy exhaustive. Let's talk about every card. Blah 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 blah. I just want to talk about the stuff that we're excited about, because what we potentially want to brew around, and kind of what's stand out for you. So I'll start with you. What's one card or maybe a couple cards you kind of seeing right now that you're really looking forward to?
So okay, I will admit to everybody, I haven't fully dug into all of them, but I was just going through them earlier, and one jumped out at me, and I'm like, I must find a way to make this work. And that is, it's not called this, but I will call it Yggdrasil, the World Tree.
Yeah.
Land. Just to read it out for people real quick, the World Tree enters tap to add green. As long as you control 6 or more lands you control have tapped add mana of any color. And then this is the sexy part.
Okay, pause. If it ended there, that's a good card.
Like, that is a good card.
Yeah, that's just good for Commander. Like, that's just a good card if it ended there. But it goes on. Go ahead.
2 white, 2 blue, 2 black, 2 red, 2 green, tap, sacrifice the World Tree, search your library for any number of god cards, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Gods in Historic and Commander are going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking. Because you've got the gods from Amonkhet. In Historic, you have the gods from Amonkhet, you have the gods from War of the Spark, and now you have the gods from Theros, and now you have the gods from Kaldheim. You could make a god tribal deck that could be just stupid.
And kind of the wild thing is, again, just touching back onto Commander for a moment, is if you're a 5-color deck, you're just playing that. Even if you're not even thinking about that god part of it, you're playing this because it is going to be one of your best mana fixing cards if you're playing some crazy 5-color deck, and you need mana fixing in those, obviously. So you're going to be able to get that in there. 6 or more lands, that's super easy in Commander. All of them can add any mana type at that point once you drop the World Tree. That's really good, and you're going to replace one of your forests. It's a solid card for Commander. But again, brewing in Historic, there's a lot of good gods out there.
Yeah. And I love building 5-color in Commander. One of my favorites was my Ramos the Dragon Engine Planeswalker deck.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this would be sweet in that. Not even thinking about gods.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Do you want to throw one out? And
Yeah, I'll throw
yeah.
one out. So the one thing that's got me excited, just kind of in general, is all the elves that are coming out, and we haven't seen all the elves yet, so we don't really know if elves will be like a standard or a historic thing, or if any of these elves will affect modern elves, which is a deck I do play. But one card in particular that I'm willing to at least try out is Realm Walker. While not technically an elf, it is a 2 colorless, 1 green for a shapeshifter. So it's a changeling, so it's any type. So in this case, I'm going to make it elf. So as it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type, elf. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast creature spells of the chosen type from the top of your library. It's a 2/3. It's a card advantage engine. It could potentially give elves a little bit of a longer game plan. I like playing mono green elves too, as opposed to like green black or green white elves. So this helps out the mono green, because it was kind of mono green was kind of missing one more card for mono green to be super relevant, instead of wanting to go green black for kind of what was going on there. So I'm excited to kind of throw this into there. Maybe this replaces one of the lords that I was playing in mono green. Maybe this replaces some of the dorks, just to have that card engine. Maybe it replaces Court of Calling, even, where Court of Calling's main role was just to grab Azuri back, just to find your Azuri. But maybe this is just a better card advantage, because grabbing Azuri, it was like pay 6 to grab Azuri and put it in the battlefield. It was just like a lot of mana, although elves produce a lot of mana. Maybe I just want a card advantage engine and just keep just dropping elves, especially since the mono green type of elves is more lord heavy than other versions of elves. So I'm excited for potentially trying that. But other elf stuff too. Tyvar Kell is the elf commander, or not commander, sorry, planeswalker. That seems potentially interesting, because what that one does is it's 2 colors, 2 green for this legendary planeswalker. Comes with 3 loyalty. So elves you control tap for a black mana, which is sweet on its own for its static ability. Its +1 is you put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target elf. Untap it, it gains death touch until end of turn, so you're making one of your elves stronger. 0, you drop a 1/1 green elf creature token. It's just makes for elves. You're -6, you get an emblem with whenever you cast an elf spell, it gains haste until end of turn. You draw 2 cards, so elf ball goes nuts. The only worry about this one is it is 3 loyalty, and you have to -6 it to get that emblem. So you're thinking about stuff that, doubling seasons, obviously what anyone ever talks about. But it also gets me excited for the other card kind of I want to talk about too, is Vorinclex, which I don't think you're playing as in an elf deck. I'm now then just kind of transitioning into commander, but there's also a new elf commander too, which I'm also excited about. But you can play Vorinclex on this, which has basically the double the loyalty when you drop a planeswalker there. So that is potentially stuff I want to kind of get into.
One thing I want to talk about, what you mentioned there, Realm Walker.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying, hey, that's awesome for elves. I'm a modern humans player. That's going in the humans deck.
Yeah, just play
some
humans, draw.
Yeah, exactly. That looks awesome for the humans. So something else I was looking at. So one thing I've played with for several years now, made different decks, and I have one in historic I really like, is treasures.
Mm-hmm.
And treasures are back, and there's 2 cards that have jumped out at me so far. One is Forging the Tyrite Sword. It is a saga for 1 and a red and a white. White is just new into treasures because of Smothering Tithe.
Mm-hmm.
But I do now play it in my 4-color treasures deck. So this one, it's like chapters 1 and 2, create a treasure token. Tap chapter 3, search your library for a god named Halvar, god of battle, or an equipment card. Reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. I'm curious. I haven't dug into Halvar yet. I don't even know if he's out. He's okay. I haven't seen him yet, but that's more just treasure engine. But the one that actually really has me excited is Goldspan Dragon. 3, 2 red, creature dragon, flying haste. Whenever he attacks or becomes the target of a spell, create a treasure. And treasures you control have tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 2 mana of any one color.
Wild.
So treasures are getting a big boost.
Become super treasures.
I'm excited. I love playing in historic with Revel of Riches, Brass's Bounty, Marionette Master. You just sack all these treasures and
Marionette Master.
dome somebody. I took Marionette Master once to a PPTQ a couple years ago. And I domed a guy for 56 and he was at 38 life, I think. It was amazing. And he even like looked at me like, wait a minute, what's going on? I'm like, oh yeah, I have 2 Marionette Masters, so every treasure I'm sacking is doing 8 damage to you.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's fun. And then the one other thing I just wanted to touch on, I have a standard deck. It's okay. It's kind of fun. It's Giants. They are helping boost up Giants, but they've added another color because my standard deck right now is Naya.
Mm-hmm.
But they've brought blue into the Giants, and especially the one that's got me is Giants Amulet. 1 blue, artifact equipment. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 3 in a blue. If you do, create a 4/4 blue giant wizard creature token, then attach the amulet to it. Equipped creature gets +0/+1 and has this creature is hexproof as long as it's untapped.
Whew.
Damn. And it's equipped too.
Nice.
So, yeah, super excited. So I want to sit down and figure out, okay, I would probably like to stick with 3 colors for my Giants deck. So with the Naya deck, which one do I drop? White has always been the lesser in the current build, but white also gives you that board wipe.
Yeah, sure.
That everything but Giants. So for standard, I'm kind of excited to see what we do with some of these. There's different Giant cards, but this is the one that really stuck out for me.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing whatever else spoilers we gotta keep getting as the week kind of goes on, because we're early into spoiler season here for Kaldheim. But that'll do it for I believe this week's episode. But yeah,
for sure. I'm loving I'm a fan of Norse mythology, so I'm loving like seeing different the ravens and seeing Yggdrasil. So yeah, this is awesome. It's going to be great.
Okay, so speaking of Norse mythology, have you watched Norsemen on Netflix?
I have not. I don't even think I've heard of it.
Okay, it's incredible. So it's this Norwegian show. It's basically if Monty Python meets Game of Thrones. So it's like Monty Python with Game of Thrones type production value, and it's absolutely amazing, and you should definitely check it out.
All right, now this is now on my list.
Yeah, put it on your list.
I mean, for me, like as a lover of Norse mythology, one series that I've watched, I haven't finished all of season 2, but it's fantastic, and I love the book, is American Gods.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that yet either.
Yeah, the book by Neil Gaiman is incredible. The series is amazing, and there's a good chunk of Norse mythology in it because one of the main characters is Odin.
Oh, cool!
But it's a contemporary Odin is essentially a grifter in contemporary America, played by the fantastic Ian McShane.
Nice.
So if you and he plays Mr. Wednesday, which it's funny when I read the book, I was like, oh, I don't know which god this is, and I mentioned it to my wife, and she went, they call him Wednesday. Yeah. Does he have one eye? Yeah. It's frickin' Odin.
All right. That's great. All right, now we both have homework. You need to check out at least the pilot of Norsemen. I'll check out at least the pilot of American Gods. We'll check back next week and see what both of us think of it. All right.
All right.
All right, thanks everyone for joining us. Let's quickly plug a little bit of what we're doing. Let's start with you. You have your Patreon.
Yeah, it's patreon.com/jankyardmtg. If you want to help what we're doing for as low as $1 per month, you can help us out. And mainly what I'm doing is I'm building decks. We're doing some deck techs, but the biggest thing we're leading is tournaments. So you can check us out on MTG Melee. We do 2 tournaments a week minimum. We've got Historic Brawl and tournament usually on Thursdays, and then on Sundays we do a weekly tournament of a different format. We're also looking at bringing back our Jankyard League, which we did in the fall. We'll be looking at doing a winter one that went 10 weeks, was a lot of fun, and we're going to have that out soon so anybody can sign up for that as well.
Yeah, that league was really fun. I was able to make the playoffs, and I was doing super well. I was actually I was probably the hottest player kind of coming into the playoffs, and then I flamed out the first round of playoffs.
You were the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I have the Toronto Maple Leafs of your league. Yeah, that's your fun. One thing I want to plug is Metabreak Apparel. It is my apparel line I kind of started. We have shirts and stuff. We actually just created masks. You can check that out over there. Links will be in the description. All right, that's it, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. You can also follow me on @Jonny Esports on Twitter. Where else can we find you, JT?
Yes, I can be found on Twitter @JankyardM.
Perfect. That's it, folks. We'll be back next week with some episode. We'll title it something. We actually have to discuss. That's one thing we haven't discussed, what we're going to name this thing. We'll talk about that off air. But we'll see you all next week, and I look forward to that. Bye, everybody.